Now, suppose you didn't mention this part of the hadith yet, what he said, his command to Abu Talha. What if you just said to a Wahhabi? But the Prophet gave his hairs to Abu Talha. So what a Wahhabi might say, I would anticipate he would say, that's not proof for tabarruk. Allah knows why he gave it to him. If it doesn't say in the hadith why he gave it to him, then just be silent about it. That's what I would anticipate from a Wahhabi, knowing how they are. So then tell him, no. Their words, yeah, this is the scenario that I just imagined. If that were the case, then you tell him, la, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, iqsimhu bayna an-nas, distribute it amongst the people. Why he told him to distribute it amongst the people, O Wahhabi? Allah knows what his answer is going to be. Maybe he's just going to shut his mouth. They do that sometimes and they have no answer. When they can't find a lie to tell, when they can't find a way to twist the issue, then they're going to go silent, because they just rather stop talking than accept the truth. وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ لِمُسْلِمٍ أَيْضًا, and according to another rendition, also narrated by Muslim, the hadith says, فَبَدَأَ بِالشِّقِّ الْأَيْمَنِ, he started with the right side. فَوَزَّعَهُ الشَّعْرَةَ وَالشَّعْرَتَيْنِ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ, and then he distributed a hair or two amongst the people, meaning a hair to someone, 2 hairs to someone. ثُمَّ قَالَ بِالْأَيْسَرِ, and then he said, do the left side. فَصَنَعَ مِثْلَ ذَلِكَ, and then he did the same. ثُمَّ قَالَ, and then the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, هَا هُنَا أَبُو طَلْحَةَ, here Abu Talha. But I don't know what's the i'rab of Abu here. Why is Abu with a waw? What does this sentence mean according to the i'rab here? I don't know. If you know, then teach me. If anyone knows, teach me that. Why is not Aba Talha? Ha huna Aba Talha. If there's an alif there, then it means he's calling him. Here, Abu Talha. Like if you know someone, his name is Abu, let's say his name is Abu Bakr, and then you call him. You say, yo, don't say, hey, Abu Bakr. You might say it because you don't speak Arabic. But if you want, say, hey, Abu Bakr. You put an alif there because you're calling him. But there's a wow here. I don't know why. فَدَفَعَهُ إِلَىٰ أَبِي طَلْحَةَ, so then he gave it to Abu Talha. وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ أُخْرَى لِمُسْلِمٍ أَيْضًا, and in another rendition also narrated by Muslim, أَنَّهُ عَلَيْهِ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ قَالَ لِلْحَلَّاقِ, that he, may peace and blessings be upon him, said to the barber, ha, يعني. وَأَشَارَ بِيَدِهِ إِلَى الْجَانِبِ الْأَيْمَنِ, he pointed to his right side, the right side of his head, and he said to the barber, ha! So it's a signal to him to shave. فَقَسَمَ شَعَرَهُ بَيْنَ مَنْ يَلِيهِ, and then he distributed his hair to whoever was next to him. ثُمَّ أَشَارَ إِلَى الْحَلَّاقِ إِلَى الْجَانِبِ الْأَيْسَرِ, and then he signaled to the barber to cut the left side. فَحَلَقَهُ, and then he cut it, he shaved it. حلقة, he shaved it. فأعطاه Sulaym, and then he gave those hairs to Sulaym, that's Abu Talha's wife. You remember Abu Talha and Sulaym, she was the one who was Muslimah, he was a kafir, and he wanted to marry her, and she said, any woman would be interested in a man like you, but you're a kafir and I'm a Muslimah. I can't marry you. She told him, if you embrace Islam, then I don't want any dowry, but you're embracing Islam. And he did embrace Islam. Now, the way I know it, not right then and there, right that moment, he said, I'll think about it, but he did embrace Islam. فمعنى الحديث أنه وزع بنفسه بعضا بين الناس الذين يلونه. The meaning of the hadith, when you put all the renditions together, is that the Prophet ﷺ distributed some of those hairs personally to those who were next to him. وَأَعْطَى بَعْضًا لِأَبِي طَلْحَةَ لِيُوَزِّعَهُ فِي سَائِرِهِمْ. And he gave some of his hairs to Abu Talha so that he would distribute them to others. وَأَعْطَى بَعْضًا Sulaym. And he gave some to Sulaym. فَفِيهِ تَبَرُّكُ بِآثَارِ الرَّسُولِ. In that is seeking blessings from the prophets, from the messengers' traces. فَقَدْ قَسَمَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ شَعَرَهُ لِيَتَبَرَّكُوا بِهِ. He distributed his hairs, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, not just gave, qasama, he distributed that. He passed it out to several. He distributed that. لِيَتَبَرَّكُوا بِهِ, so that they seek blessings by this hair. وَلِيَسْتَشْفِعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِمَا هُوَ مِنْهِ, and so that they would seek intercession. I was about to say secure again. Seek intercession. So that they would seek intercession to Allah by something that is a part of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. For Wahhabi, that's just clear shirk. This is so ugly talk to a Wahhabi. Repulsive, disgusting profanity. Seeking intercession to Allah by a piece of the Prophet. وَيَتَقَرَّبُ بِذَلِكَ إِلَيْهِ, and he distributed it to them so that by it they would seek closer status to God. That's the belief of Ahlul Sunnah, not Wahhabis. Wahhabis are too arrogant for something like this. وَقَسَمَ بَيْنَهُمْ لِيَكُونَ بَرَكَةً بَاقِيَةً بَيْنَهُمْ وَتَذْكِرَةً لَهُمْ. And he distributed it amongst them so that it would be a lasting blessing, yani, a blessed relic in their presence, and a souvenir. وَتَذْكِرَةً لَهُمْ, yani, that means a reminder. So I'm translating it as a souvenir for them. Because that's the case. Anyone who has the hair of the Prophet, a hair of the Prophet, he's so happy. And he keeps it with him. MashaAllah. And when someone comes over and says, look here, here's the hair of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam. ثم تبع الصحابة في خطتهم في التبرك بآثاره صلى الله عليه وسلم من أسعده الله وتوارد ذلك من أسعده الله. And then following the companions in their footsteps in seeking blessings from the Prophet's relics. So if we use the word relics, it's going to mean after his death. If he's alive, then maybe we'll just say traces. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam, following the companions in their footsteps in seeking blessings from the Prophet's relics. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam is anyone whom Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala granted the let's say, rough translation here, granted the good fortune. Anyone whom Allah made fortunate. Yani, Allah didn't deprive this person and make him a dark, stone-hearted Wahhabi. وَتَوَارَدَ ذَلِكَ الْخَلَفُ عَنِ السَّلَفِ. And the Khalaf, the latter-day Muslims, they continued the custom of the Salaf, the predecessors, in doing this. Until this day of ours. Still people who have hairs of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam, But if you want to, someone tells you he has a hair, if you want, you can ask him for his chain. But he might have hair of the Prophet without having a chain. And then you're going to make a decision if you're going to believe him and seek blessings, or you're going to say, Barakallahu feek. I'm good, it's okay, thanks for the offer. I did actually meet somebody in Lebanon. It was weird, it was strange. I was walking down the street, and this guy I never saw before in my life. It's like, I don't know where he came from. He said, "Hi, you from Jamaica? Oh, I have a hair of the Prophet." I told him no thank you. It was like I was a stranger. It was like I was a kid. He's offering me candy as a stranger. I was like, no, it's cool. MashaAllah. But maybe he really had a hair of the Prophet. I don't know. Alayhi-Sirat Al-Mustaqim. Ash-SharH, the explanation. At-tabarruku ma'nahu talabu ziyadati al-khayr. Seeking blessings means seeking additional goodness, because a blessing is ziyadatul khayr, additional goodness. So you might have blessing in your food, you might have blessing in your money. You're going to see, for example, it's still there. It didn't go bad, and you ate so much, you're still full, there's still so much left. You might say there's a blessing in this. وقد قسم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم شعره بين أصحابه ليتبركوا به. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam distributed his hair between his companions, or amongst his companions, so that they would seek blessings by it. لا ليأكلوه, not so that they would eat it. That's why we're going to ask the Wahhabi why he distributed his hairs and his nail clippings to them. And then let him answer you. So probably he's going to shut his mouth here. He didn't do it so that they eat it. لأن الشعر لا يؤكل, because hair is not eaten. إنما يستعمل في غير الأكل, rather hair is used for other than eating. فأرشد الرسول أمته إلى التبرك بآثاره كلها حتى بصاقه. And so the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he guided his nation to seek blessings from his traces, all of them, even his saliva. This is the case of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and other prophets too. You know, the children of Israel, they had the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant. It was a chest that had the relics of Moses and Aaron. That's tabarruk right there. And Prophet Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, people used to just follow him. Hundreds of people, or maybe thousands of people, will be following him. And some of them just want to get close to him so they can touch him. That's the tabarruk. This is from the religion. Even Uzair, it was said about Uzair, the one who's not a prophet, according to the strong saying. When he recited the Torah by heart, the Jews, they started rubbing on him. But some of them, they committed blasphemy and they said, he's the son of Allah. That's too far. وَكَانَ أَحَدُهُمْ أَخَذَ شَعْرَهُ. It was the case that one of them would have taken a hair, وَالْآخَرُ أَخَذَ شَعْرَتَيْن, and another one would have taken two hairs. وَمَا قَسَمَهُ إِلَّا لِيَتَبَرَّكُوا بِهِ. And the Prophet ﷺ did not distribute it, but so that they would seek blessings by it. فَكَانُوا يَتَبَرَّكُونَ بِهِ فِي حَيَاتِهِ وَبَعْدَ وَفَاتِهِ. And so they were seeking blessings by this during his life and after his death. His wives, they would collect his sweat and put his sweat in their oils. You know, Muslims have fragrance oils, oil. Yeah, his wives would put his sweat into their oils. It then becomes more fragrant. When the Prophet ﷺ, he did the hijama, the cupping, and the blood was extracted, and then he gave it to one of the companions, a youngster at the time, to dispose of it. So he took it to dispose of it. When he came back, the Prophet ﷺ asked him, "What did you do with it?" He said, "I put it where no one will find it." What did he do with it? He swallowed it. Swallowed it. And the Prophet didn't say anything to him. So that means it wasn't a sin in this case. Eating blood is haram though, but not in this case, because the blood of the Prophet is not najasa. Nor his urine or feces. That's for all the prophets. حتى إنهم كانوا يغمسونه في الماء فيسقون هذا الماء بعض المرضى, to the extent that they would dip the hair in water and then give this water to some of the sick people. تبركا بآثار رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, out of seeking blessings from the messenger's traces. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وهذا الحديث في البخاري ومسلم وأبي داود. And this hadith is in Al-Bukhari and Muslim and Abu Dawood. وقد صح أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم بصق في الطفل المعتوه. And it is authentic that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam spit into the mouth of a possessed child. وَكَانَ يَعْتَرِيهِ الشَّيْطَانُ كُلَّ يَوْمٍ مَرَّتَيْنِ. The devil would possess him twice per day. وقال, and the Prophet said عليه الصلاة والسلام, اخرج عدو الله. Get out. Leave the body of this child, O enemy of God. Ana Rasulullah, I am the messenger of God. Rawahu al-Hakim. Al-Hakim narrated this. فَخَرَجَ مِنْهُ الْجِنِّيُّ فَتَعَافَى. So that genie left that child's body and he was healed. فتقسيم النبي لشعره بين أصحابه كان ليتبركوا به. And so the Prophet's distribution of his hairs between his companions is so that they would seek blessings by it. So we see the Shaykh being so repetitive here. He does that on purpose. وَلِيَسْتَشْفِعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِمَا هُوَ مِنْهُ. And so that they seek intercession to God by something that's a part of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. وَيَتَقَرَّبُوا بِذَلِكَ إِلَيْهِ. And so that they would use those relics to seek closer status to God. وَقَسَمَ بَيْنَهُمْ لِيَكُونَ بَرَكَةً بَاقِيَةً بَيْنَهُمْ. And he distributed that amongst them so that it would be a blessed relic in their midst. وَتَذْكِرَةً لَهُمْ. And so that it would be a souvenir for them. ثُمَّ تَبِعَ الصَّحَابَةَ فِي خُطَّتِهِمْ فِي التَّبَرُّكِ بِآثَارِهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ مَنْ أَسْعَدَهُ اللَّهُ. Then, following the companions in their footsteps in this practice of seeking blessings from the relics of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, is anyone whom Allah made fortunate and did not make him a misfortunate, God-forsaken follower of Ibn Taymiyyah and his Wahhabis. وَتَوَارَدَ ذَلِكَ الْخَلَفُ عَنِ السَّلَفِ. And the latter-day Muslim generations followed the custom of the predecessors. واستمر ذلك إلى هذا الوقت, and that persisted until this time of ours. وقد روى الذهبي في كتاب السير أن عبد الله بن الإمام أحمد قال, Al-Dhahabi narrated in his book As-Siyar. Siyar is like the biographies, that Abdullah, the son of Imam Ahmad, said, رأيت أبي يأخذ شعرة من شعر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. I saw my father taking a hair of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is approximately 200 years after the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam. فَيَضَعُهَا عَلَى فِيهِ, and he was putting it on his mouth, يُقَبِّلُهَا, kissing it. وَأَحْسَبُ أَنِّي رَأَيْتُهُ يَضَعُهَا عَلَى عَيْنِهِ, and I think I saw him putting it on his eye. وَيَغْمِسُهَا فِي الْمَاءِ, and he would dip it in water. وَيَشْرَبُهُ يَسْتَشْفِي بِهِ, and he would drink that water seeking cure by it. Here, this one is seeking cure. There's no ayn. So I heard that Wahhabis were silenced by this report. The most I think a Wahhabi is going to do, if you don't have the document right there at the moment, he's going to say, show it to me. He doesn't even want to see it. Because when you show it to him, he just doesn't want to take it. But just like that, it's like he's challenging you. Show me. Just like that. That's what you do to a person. So many of our brothers and sisters, they don't do that. They let somebody say something, and then they go to somebody else and say, what's the proof about what he said? Tell him, show me. If you don't have an answer when he shows you, then take what he gave you and bring that to the teacher. And Abdullah, the son of Imam Ahmad, said, وَرَأَيْتُهُ أَخَذَ, I don't know if there's fatha or kasra on this. قصعة or قصعة النبي, قصعة or قصعة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فغمسها في جب الماء. And I saw him taking this thing of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, not sure how to translate it. Maybe it's a shirt, I don't know. And he would dip it in water. في جب الماء. Also, not sure. Jub. I'm doubtful how to translate that. ثم شرب فيها, and then he would drink from that. وَرَأَيْتُهُ يَشْرَبُ مِنْ مَاءِ زَمْزَمْ يَسْتَشْفِي بِهِ, and I saw him drinking from Zamzam water, seeking cure by it. So that's not going to be shirk according to a Wahhabi. But if you took the Prophet's hair and you sought cure by that, that would be shirk according to a Wahhabi. وَيَمْسَحُ بِهِ يَدَيْهِ وَوَجْهَهُ, and he would wipe his hands and his face with it. وروى الحافظ الزبيدي في شرح الإحياء عن الشعبي, and Hafiz al-Zabidi in the explanation of Ihya Ulumuddin, so you know he's a Hanafi, rahimahullah, he explained this Shafi'i book and he did a great job of it. So yeah, he was a Hanafi who's very proficient in Shafi'i school too, so that's a lot of knowledge to be proficient in two madhabs, not basic in two madhabs, proficient or expert level in two madhabs. Imagine if some scholar had 3 madhabs, 4 madhabs. Subhanallah. So Hafiz Az-Zabidi, this Hanafi, he explained the Shafi'i manual that's authored by Al-Ghazali, Ihya Ulumuddin. He narrated in this explanation from Ash-Sha'bi, who's one of the successors of the companions, أنه قال, that he said, حضرت عائشة رضي الله عنها, Aisha was on her deathbed, may Allah accept from her. فقالت, and so she said, إني قد أحدثت بعد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حدثا. I have indeed innovated after the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam an innovation. She's dispraising herself here. This is not good innovation here she's talking about. This is in reference to her standing in the army that was standing against Ali, even though she didn't come to fight. She repented from that because it was haram and a major sin. That's not disparaging the Sahaba to say that. This is what she said. These are her own words about that incident. Because, you know, some people, they dispraise us. They say, they slander Aisha. They said she committed a major sin. They never tell you the reports where she repented, because she herself believed that she committed a major sin. So she said, إني قد أحدثت بعد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حدثا. I have indeed innovated something after the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. What? Something not good. ولا أدري ما حالي عنده. And I don't know what's my status to him. Footnote here. لا تعني به الخوف من دخول النار. By this statement, Aisha doesn't mean that she's afraid to enter hell, because she has the evidence from the Messenger of Allah that she's amongst those who are saved in the afterlife. So she wouldn't believe that she's going to go to hell when she has evidence to the contrary. إنما تعني به ما دون ذلك من الصفات. What she means is something less than that concerning her attributes, يعني her status. فإن صفات الكمال بعضها فوق بعض. Indeed, some of the attributes of excellence, some of the excellent qualities of the slaves of God are higher than others. And some of the slaves of God are higher than others. Someone might have a proof that he would go to paradise, so then he should believe that. Like if you saw the Prophet in your dreams, alayhi salatu wassalam. If you really saw him in your dreams, then you shouldn't believe that you're going to go to hell. But you should still be concerned about your status. So she said, وَلَا أَدْرِي مَا حَالِي عِنْدَهُ. I don't know what is my status to the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Like as if she's concerned that he's disappointed in her. فَلَا تَدْفَنُونِي مَعَهُ. So, O people, do not bury me with him. Where was he buried? He was buried in her chambers. That's where she originally planned to be buried. Yani, he died in her chambers, so his grave was there in her chambers. How fortunate she was to have his grave in her chambers. Aisha, Allah blessed her, subhanallah, on so many levels. Allah gives favor to whomever he wills. And then her father passed away, and he was buried next to the Messenger. So she had her husband, who was the messenger himself, and her blessed father there. So originally her plan was to be buried right there. Then it's going to be husband and wife and father of the wife, who's the best friend of the husband, right there. But it didn't go like that. She said, فَلَا تَدْفَنُونِي مَعَهُ, don't bury me with him. فإني أكره أن أجاور رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا أدري ما حالي عنده. Indeed, I don't like to be in the messenger's vicinity sallallahu alaihi wasallam without knowing what's my status to him. So ثم دعت بخرقة من قميص رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then she called for a rag, يعني, a piece of material from the shirt of the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم. فقالت, and so she said, it's kasra there. دفن يدفن. I read it wrong first time. وادفنوها معي. ضعوا هذه على صدري. Put this on my chest when you prepare me for burial. وادفنوها معي, and bury it with me. لعلي أنجو بها من عذاب القبر. So that, or perhaps I will by it escape the torture of the grave. Intaha. So the right way to read this up here is فَلَا تَدْفِنُونِي مَعَهُ, so do not bury me with him, etc. Intaha, end quote. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy upon him. وأما اقتسام الأظفار, now concerning the distribution of the nails or the nail clippings. فأخرج الإمام أحمد في مسنده أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قلم أظفاره. Imam Ahmad produced in his musnad that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam clipped his nails. وَقَسَمَهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ, and then he distributed them amongst the people. وَمَعْلُومٌ أَنَّ ذَلِكَ لَمْ يَكُنْ لِيَأْكُلَهَا النَّاسِ, and it is known that that wasn't so that the people would eat them. بل ليتبركوا بها, rather it was so that they would seek blessings by them. أما جبته, and as for his cloak صلى الله عليه وسلم, فقد أخرج مسلم في الصحيح عن مولى أسماء بنت أبي بكر. Muslim produced in his authentic book from the Mawla of Asma bint Abi Bakr. From the Mawla, Mawla could mean slave, or it could mean ex-slave. Mawla has 20 meanings in Arabic. I don't remember learning the exact interpretation of Mawla here. Was he her slave? Or her ex-slave? Or does it mean something else? From the Mawla of Asma bint Abi Bakr, the Mawla of Asma, Abu Bakr's daughter. So who is she? She's Aisha's sister. قال, he said, أخرجت إلينا جبة طيالسة كسروانية. Asma brought out to us a طيالسة Kisrawaniyah cloak. I have no idea how to translate that. Laha labinatu dibaj. It has some dibaj. Dibaj is some also I'm not sure. Now, I'm not sure at the moment. وَفَرْجَيْهَا مَكْفُوفَيْن. All of that, I don't know how to translate. So, but what's important has been addressed, which is she had a cloak. This cloak was described here by her Mawla, but I don't know how to translate his description. Here's a footnote. And Nawawi said in the explanation of Muslim, this is how it came in all copies. وَفَرْجَيْهَا مَكْفُوفَيْن. Yeah. This goes back to the grammar. Because the students are confused by the statement. They don't see how's that? Why it's not وَفَرْجَاهَا مَكْفُوفَانِ? Anyway, it says here, وَوَقَعَ عِنْدَ أَحْمَدْ فِي مُسْنَدِهِ. Imam Ahmad narrated this according to this wording that I just told you. وَفَرْجَاهَا مَكْفُوفَانِ. That's familiar. And Nawawi mentioned why it's وَفَرْجَيْهَا مَكْفُوفَيْن. Why it's like that. He gave some reason, which I'm not going to talk about now. وقالت, and Asma said, هذه جبة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is the cloak of the Messenger of God صلى الله عليه وسلم. كانت عند عائشة. Aisha had it. فلما قبضت قبضتها. And when she passed away, I took it. وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يلبسها. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to wear it. فَنَحْنُ نَغْسِلُهَا لِلْمَرْضَى نَسْتَشْفِي بِهَا. So we wash it for the sick, seeking cure by it. وفي رواية, and according to a narration, نَغْسِلُهَا لِلْمَرِيضِ مِنَّا. We wash it for the sick amongst us. So that's the practice of the Sahaba and the Tabi'un, not the practice of a God-forsaken Wahhabi. By the way, don't forget, the prophets do not leave inheritance. So saying that this was the messenger's cloak and then Aisha had it after the messenger passed away doesn't mean she owned it. It doesn't mean she inherited it like inherited money, but rather she had possession of it. And then when she passed away, Asma took it. وعن حنظلة بن حذيم, and from the route of Hanzala, the son of Hithyam, أنه قال, that he said, وفدت مع جدي حذيم إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I went with my grandfather Hithyam to the messenger of Allah. وفدت, that's rough translation what I just said. sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فَقَالَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. And so my grandfather said, O Messenger of Allah, إِنَّ لِي بَنِينَ ذَوِي لِحَا وَغَيْرَهُمْ. I have sons who have beards, and others. وَهَذَا أَصْغَرُهُمْ. And this is the youngest of them. It's like, this is the baby, even if it wasn't a baby though. فَأَدْنَانِي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. And so the Messenger of Allah drew me near, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, وَمَسَحَ رَأْسِي. And he wiped my head. وَقَالَ بَارَكَ اللَّهُ فِيكَ. And he said, may God bless you. قال الذيال. الذيال said, فَلَقَدْ رَأَيْتُ حَنْظَلَةَ يُؤْتَى بِالرَّجُلِ الْوَارِمِ وَجْهُهُ. I swear, I saw Hanzala approached with a man with a swollen face. Yani someone would come to him with a man with a swollen face. أو الشاة الوارم ضرعها. Or a sheep with a swollen udder. Udder. U-D-D-E-R. فيقول. And then Hanzala would say, Bismillah ala mawdi'i kaffi Rasulillah. He would say Bismillah while putting his hand on the spot where the Messenger of Allah put his hand when he wiped on his head as a child. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. فَيَمْسَحُهُ. And then he would wipe that swollen part. فَيَذْهَبُ الْوَرَمُ. And then the swelling would go away. رواه طبراني في الأوسط والكبير. رواه طبراني في الأوسط والكبير بنحوه. At-Tabarani narrated this in his medium mu'jam and his big mu'jam by some similar wording. وَأَحْمَدُ فِي حَدِيثٍ طَوِيلٍ. And Ahmad also narrated that in a long hadith. وَرِجَالُ أَحْمَدَ ثِقَاتٍ. And the men in the chain of narration of Ahmad are trustworthy. Wallahu a'lam. Let's stop there. Any question? Says the recording started by Sister Zainab. Didn't I start the recording? Is that second time today I forgot to record? I'm slipping. MashaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So my question would be this, like, just some experience, the average, person, especially in the city of Philadelphia, that's, African American, they not exposed to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they only they're just being not only indoctrinated, but just following with somebody else, telling them. I think this is meant for people that understand that not only, their Wahhabi nonsense, that creed, but they understand, you know what I'm saying, and been exposed to the in the science of tasawwuf, dealing with these hadith that they understand, but they're not telling the people. That's would be my point.
The Wahhabis, they understand these. They're teachers amongst them.
Yeah.
Yes, they know this, and they don't tell it to the people. They're like Jews. What the Jews used to do, they used to hide knowledge.
Yeah, I think that's unfair.
Yeah. SubhanAllah, that's what happens when you're a misguided person. May Allah protect us.
I mean,
a misguided person, swear up and down you're guided, and you're going to hide the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ from the people. Same thing with the hadith of the slave girl. They just take the version they want, and the versions that clarify the issue, they don't teach it to any person. They act like they have no idea about it. And then when you talk to a Wahhabi and you tell him, but Malik narrated it like this, and Al-Hakim narrated it like that, he has no idea, while his teacher knows though. Then he's going to have to go back to his teacher and say, they told me that this. Then his teacher's going to tell him something.
Yeah.
And if he is fully indoctrinated, then he's going to accept that his teacher hid that knowledge from him, and he's going to stay loyal to him. Subhanallah. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.